9/10 of a kilometre, 8/10 certainly of a kilometre, back up to the flat-out left-hander at turn 4. With full tanks and with not quite such fresh tyres as in qualifying, that is definitely going to be a lift. As they get over the brow, they've got to summon up their courage and try and carry as much speed as possible through turn 4. Then 2 left-handers, turns 5 and 6. The track limits have got to be respected. And then they sweep into sector 2, the tight infield section.
Unfortunately today, I got penalised after qualifying, and all of my lap times taken away from me from technical infringement on the car, which is a shame because obviously it impacts a little bit on my championship, in the sense that obviously fighting for top 10, which would still be good to get in the top 10 by the end of the year here, but if we can repeat the performance in Japan from here, that would be pretty special. Just getting my maps all on the right maps, start procedures in place. That's looking pretty good. Warming up the brakes and tyres, very, very abrasive here, and I think the tyres are going to be going away from the cars very quickly, so it's going to be interesting. Hopefully get a good start and see if we can crack into that top 10 and steal a few points.
Well, disappointing for a world champion like Rob Huff in a factory drive to be hoping to get into the top 10 and take points, but as he said, stuck at the back of the grid with a small technical infringement. And unfortunately, that is his lot here in Thailand, which will probably make it doubly hot work compared to if you're at the sharp end of the grid like the Citroens. Ready for race 1 in Thailand, the first ever FIA World Championship event in Thailand. Jose Maria Lopez on pole on the right of your screen. On the left, his teammate Sebastian Loeb. Behind, Ivan Muller and Chin Kwa Ma. 4 identical red, white and grey Citroën C-Elysées. And waiting for the lights to come on, revs rise. In the hope that the lights will at least operate. There they go, they are on, and when they go off, away we go. Good start from Sebastian Loeb, broke quickly but didn't get the traction. Ivan Muller from 3rd on the grid, looking to the inside, but Ma is alongside him. Muller's having to change his line. Ma goes up the inside of Muller, contact between the 2 Citroens, and behind, Tom Coronel loses a wheel. And there was a Lada involved, 2 yellow cars at least. One was Coronel, one was a Lada. And based on where it was, you might think it may be Nico Lapierre or Rob Huff. And from the caption, you sense maybe it's Rob Huff in a gravel trap. But Matt Neal, Jose Maria Lopez, nerves or not, made a good getaway. And he's leaving the carnage behind him. But I think we may end up with a safety car if there are cars off at turn 1.
Yeah, Lopez made a golden start, got the jump and left the other Citroens to fight it all out. Ma threw it down the inside of Muller, and that just caused chaos ensued there. But
and it allowed Benani to get through in the red, white and green Citroen from 5th. He's up to 3rd. Look at Ma on the inside, 33.
I think Katzberg's had a... as Coronel goes for the inside.
Oh, goodness me, that was a big hit.
And
more trouble behind, that's Valente, and that is which of the Citroens? That is Muller, 68, that is Muller. So the championship for Muller pretty much has ended right there. So Benani with Ma behind him. Where's Loeb in 2nd? Lopez is leading. We will definitely get the safety car out. We have lost about 5 cars, and we've not even got to the end of lap 1.
As importantly, Martin, that's going to really close things up for 2nd place in the championship now between Loeb and Muller. So that's going to get very, very tight unless Ivan can come back and pull some places back into the safety car.
Well, Hugo Valente, we didn't see what happened. We only saw the end result. He is out. Muller looked as though he was continuing to move. Michaelis into the pit lane. So they will have the rest of the race to fix his car so he can hopefully start on pole for race 2. So who have we got rather than who have we lost? That's slightly an easier question.
Well,
there goes Chilton, Tarquini, Montero made a good start and then got a little shuffle back. So Montero is behind Chilton, and they started 8th and 9th. So we have Lopez and Loeb and Bernani and Marr. 4/5 of the Citroën team made it through. Nicky Katzberg, so he was on the inside, and which of the larders was going around the outside? Tom Coronel was on the inside of Katzberg, I think, and Huff's car, it's Lapierre's car. So Lapierre was on the outside of Katzberg. So I think what we saw was Coronel on the inside, clattering into Katzberg, with Lapierre trying to go around the outside. Now, what happened with Norby and with Hugo Vallant and with Ivan Muller? Well, there you can see the aftermath. Yeah, Katzberg was the man on the outside, and Lapierre on the right of your picture. There was contact between him and Coronel. Okay, is that Tarquini's Honda in the middle again with Hugo Vallant? Tarquini already serving a 5-place penalty, or was that Montero's Honda?
No, I think Montero was further up the road, Martin.
Yes, but I thought another Castrol Honda went through behind. Muller is in the pit lane. Well, listen, if they fix it or they don't fix it, if Pachito goes on to score 25 points here, he is champion. This is about Ivan trying to win race 2.
There's an upright just getting put down there on the floor, so it's obviously done a rear upright.
And this is about Ivan trying to hold off Sebastian Loeb, so he's at least the second of the Citroën drivers rather than the third. Montero's got damage on the left front corner. Look at the Honda as it comes through. I'm pretty sure that looks out of line as they come down the straight, and I think Tarquini's car is less damaged. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Montero. The left front corner, I think that's all crumpled up. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the way the shadow falls. Need to see that incident again. I did think that a second Castrol Honda came through after the incident had happened. And pulling off is Thiago Montero, or slowing down at least. Was that to pull up slowly to the team so they could take a look at the front of the car, because they're not getting the...
Yeah,
it is damaged.
Yeah, that would be doing.
It is damaged, and so it was Montero that was in the middle of that little battle, and that's right, because those were the cars that should have been around him. Because Hugo Vallant started just in front of him, so did Tom Chilton. Chilton's still there, and Vallant was up behind Muller.
I mean, the two who've made good progress, who are right in the danger zone, was Chilton and Montero, and who are now lying 5th and 6th. But the one star is John Philippi. He's up to 7th. I think that's his highest place of the year so far. If he could hang on around there. Well, his best qualifying run, wasn't it? He was in 11th place on the grid, and as you say, in 7th position. And when we get back to racing, hopefully Thiago's car will hold together. Whether he will escape penalty-free or not remains to be seen. Entire left rear corner going on to Ivan's car, and they're checking the under tray and all the other pinnings and bits and pieces, because, you know, there you see from Norby's car the law of unintended consequences. When you hit it in one position, it sends the shock through various other unexpected parts of the car quite often. Oh, come on. That's Hugo Vallant going... not going around the corner, whether he's carrying too much speed. It looks as though he's gone outwards.
Oh, and Norby just avoided getting tagged by Muller as well. Norby on the outside there. Entirely an innocent party.
To me, from that angle, it looked like Vallant was down the inside, but then carried on, like he was carrying too much speed and went wide, taking the others with him. So,
yep. Entirely possible
occurrence to see him walking back lap 1.
Unfortunately, no. Safety car remains out. Race distance has now been extended from 14 to 16 laps. We can add up to a maximum of 2 more laps to race distance to allow for some or all of those lost behind the safety car.
So Tarquini's made very good progress up to 8th from the back of the grid, and obviously Huff as well. It's benefiting him. So Huffy's going to try and pick up some valuable points. Yeah, Huffy, at the expense of his teammates, is now the only larder on the track. Well, he might be the only larder in race 2 as well, judging by the way they both took a hit. And I don't think Coronel's weekend is going to go much further than the one in Shanghai. Yeah, Lapierre's looked pretty wounded, didn't it?
Yeah. And again, you know, when the bodywork's taken a bit of a biff, it's what's behind that bodywork, the cooling systems, the mounting points for radiators, suspension pickups, suspension units, all of that takes a bit of a battering as well. Well, they have mostly towed the cars away. You can still see yellow lights in the rescue area in the background of the shot, back at turn 1. Now what we will do here is extend the time. Yeah, Coronel came inside Lapierre, and Lapierre got clattered into Katzberg. And Ivan. Now they've changed the left rear corner, but there is work going on under every wheel arch, Matt. I mean, we thought these things were hewn from solid.
They do seem pretty fragile things. You know, the Lada's been one of the most critical with their... the problem is they have to homologate the uprights, and everything is built for weight and speed. But it is a physical environment they're working in. But
yeah,
the Lada is particularly susceptible to corner damage. You know, getting one into either the front or rear wheel.
Okay, so lights out on the safety car. We are ready to go green here in Thailand. Here we go, we are racing once more, and Jose Maria Lopez leads them across the line as we go green after 5 laps of now 16 race duration. Right behind him is Sebastian Loeb. Mehdi Benani holds off Chinquan Ma for 3rd position, and it looks as though the 2 Castrol Hondas have remained intact. Tom Chilton in 5th, Thiago Montero in his Honda in 6th position, although it's immediately up to speed and shedding bits down the inside into the hairpin. Lopez defends deep against Loeb. Loeb looking again on the inside. And Montero has pulled out of the slipstream. Tarquini's gone by him already, I think. And so too is John Philippi. I think Thiago's car looked all right, Matt, when they were doing about 50 miles an hour. As soon as you get up to 150 miles an hour, suddenly the wind has a very dramatic, different effect on the bodywork.
Yeah, Lopez going defensive on the... Mars going for the inside of Benani, but Lopez going... And Mars held it. He's got it.
Yeah, Mars gone through on Benani through turns 5 and 6. And I kind of looked at that a little bit in qualifying at how wide some of the drivers were running in free practice as well, and thought, you know what? There is a way through on the inside. Chilton jinks out to have a little look. Can't get by Benani. It's down into turn 8 and 9.
Loeb really pounced at the restart, forced Lopez to go very defensive into turn 3, and then Lopez just can't shake him since then.
We've not seen anybody on that side of the track or even approaching that side of the track down to turn 3, so it must have been filthy with dirt. Oh, and Lopez rather all over the back of Loeb is all over the back of Lopez. I was right the first time.
Try saying that when you're drunk.
Pachito doesn't need to win this. He wants to win this, but he doesn't need to win this. If this really comes push coming to shove, I'd be surprised if Loeb forces his way through, but it's a chance for Loeb to try and overhaul Muller for 2nd place in the championship.
Yeah, but Loeb knows Lopez doesn't want to do anything silly now. Big lockups, big lockups on the right rear is going to there. Someone's down the inside. Yeah,
Philippi misjudged a move on either Tarquini or Montero, and the 2 Castrol Hondas, I think, have swapped positions. So I'm not sure whether Philippi did that intending to try and pass, or whether he just misjudged his braking point down to the hairpin, because you've been sitting at full throttle in the slipstream for a kilometre. I can imagine how losing your way could be fairly easy there. And Huff having a look at the back of Stefano D'Aste.
Yeah, John Philippi.
Left front puncture.
Left front upright, that is.
Yes. Now, that may have been contact induced. That may have been what caused him to go zooming straight on at turn 3.
I think that's probably contact induced. Yeah. It looks like Lopez has managed just to break a bit of the toe, and he's starting to stretch his legs now. He's settling down. He looked in a little bit of a tiz.
He did, didn't he?
On the first lap of the restart. Loeb had got him under pressure, got him a bit flustered, but he's calmed down. He seems to be just have it a bit more under control now.
Yep. He's got his head back where he needs it to be, in front of the car, rather than having to deal with Loeb. However, Seb comes out of the final corner like a scalded cat. He really gains through that final turn. Tom Chilton in 5th position behind Mehdi Banani. And then at the moment it is Tarquini ahead of Montero, 6th and 7th. Lopez with enough in hand, but Loeb really in deep under braking, Matt. He halves the distance between them on the brakes, and behind Huff in the yellow Lada, trying to get by the black and white Chevy of Stefano D'Aste. Doesn't want to give him room, does he? Huff wants to try and sit alongside him into the fast left-hander here, and D'Aste on the inside will not want to be going in here on the inside. You need all the road, and Huff takes the place, and look at the way he has to make the back of the car slide to try and get the nose to go where he wants, carrying a little bit more speed than he's done probably at any stage.
He got good traction out of 3 to make the run down to 4, but he needs to make his moves. As they were saying before, it's incredibly hard on tyres around here. Ooh, that looks fairly fairly painful, doesn't it?
Coronel's car coming in with a larger bumper still attached to it.
But yeah, just going back to Huffy, the tyres will degrade, and so it will become a status quo at about half to 2/3 distance. So Huffy needs to make as much inroads into this pack as he can, as quickly as he can.
Well, behind him, Grégoire de Moustier, and the red and white colours of Tin Sritre. Local Thai driver, 26 years old. He's got a background in karting and then in local touring car championships. And his first step up onto a world stage, racing with how many world champions we've got on the grid now? We've got 9 in Loeb. Lopez will be 2 by race 2. Muller 4, so that's 10, 11, 15. Huff, another one, 16. At least 16 world championship titles sitting on the grid around this young man from Thailand. That's quite deep water into which to launch yourself, isn't it? And there is John Philippi, ruining that error.
Yeah, shame. He had a cracking start. He was running well, so just got a bit excited.
Yeah, I think so. Just lost his bearings a little when it got into the braking area, and may just have been carrying more speed than he was used to, and therefore underestimated the room he needed.
So we've got the 4 Citroens out front. Chilton best of the rest at the moment, with Tarquini starting to bear down there now, so he needs to keep his head down, make no mistakes.
Don't want to be hitting those tyre stacks on the inside of the corner at speed, do you?
The problem is, Martin, the drivers are sat so far back and central in the cars. You have no vision of the front of the car. It's all on judgment.
Yep.
And so when they put these tyre stacks so close to the apex points, you will end up clipping them either with your front wheel arch, your front wheel, or your wing mirror, or just when you're looking for those extra inches to open the corner up.
They need those little flags that you put on the, the edge of a caravan, so you can see where it is sort of sticking on the corners of the wings.
And the big wide wing mirrors.
But, yeah, big wide wing mirrors. But the problem is, of course, that the driver's not looking at the tyre stack. He's looking so much further forward ahead of the car. You just have to feel your way past these things, because you can't be looking at them or you lose where you are. Little Chevy train here, 9th, 10th and 11th. D'Aste, the grey, blue and white of Bamboo. That's Grégoire de Moustier, the Craft Bamboo Chevy. And behind him is the other Campos racing car of Tin Sritre. Thai driver just losing a little ground here to de Moustier. Sritre, the only man on track at the moment who's ever raced here before. Hugo Vallant had also raced here a couple of weeks ago when TCR was in town. Raced with Campos with their TCR team. Bamboo brought their TCR team as well, but the machinery doesn't really translate into TC1 cars here. Huff closing down Thiago Montero for 7th. halfway into, well, more than halfway into what was supposed to be the race distance. Wonder who's going to have less tyre left out of these two. Montero, with that damaged front end, might actually have greater tyre wear than Rob Huff. Although the bits that flew off, you can see the nose chattering away there. So he won't be getting the greatest aerodynamic grip.
Yeah, there's a few walking wounded out there. If just 6 laps to go now, if Lopez can hang on for these 6 laps, he will be world champion for a second time.
He will be uncatchable. He basically needed to be 3 points ahead of Ivan Muller at the checkered flag to be uncatchable. With 55 points to be earned in Qatar and 25 here, he needed to be 80 points in front, because then even if Ivan were to tie, would he have the same number of wins? No, he wouldn't.
He has earned it,
yes,
Martin, but
no question at all.
Oh, he's still slow. Oh, and Loeb as well. Cars moving around. I mean, they're pushing them still on the limit. But Muller has been very uncharacteristically Muller-esque this year. Whether he's, I wouldn't say it's mistakes, whether it's just be wrong place, wrong time. The luck hasn't gone with him this year. You know, you throw the dice and they don't roll your way.
And the same last year. And, you know, sometimes when he's been in the hunt for the championship before, the breaks have fallen his way, and sometimes they haven't. You know, against guys like Tarquini, he lost the championship to Tarquini, but he's beaten Tarquini in equal machinery to a championship.
Is that Chilton slowing?
Yeah, Chilton slowing from 5th place, and that means now that Tarquini is up to 5th from
18th.
15th on the grid.
15th on the grid, was it?
Yeah. It was after various penalties were applied, and Huff is now up to 7th from 18th on the grid. So basically we just sort of got a scythe and cut through 3 or 4 rows of the grid. In those 2 first lap incidents, we lost half a dozen cars, because we now have, once Chilton is in the pits, we will have merely point-scoring cars left. So Tin Sritrai will score points on his first ever FIA World Championship appearance. Big lock-up from Ma. He's feeling the pressure from Bernardi still.
And Huffy's on the attack as well.
Huffy looking around the outside of Montero. Now, why would the camera... OK, never mind. We'll pick it up. There he is. Huff is still on the outside of Montero. And he's got past. And that gives him the line into turn 4. That was a big, ballsy move for Rob Huff. Shame the cameraman didn't spot it coming, but can't have everything.
Yeah, Montero has got body damage at the front of that Civic. I mean, it does look...
Well, you can see all the green and white around the outside, but the underpinnings of it, all the ducting and so on, that flew off as soon as we got up to speed,
yeah, something's affected the bonnet as well then, Martin.
Yeah.
That's going to be hurting it in a straight line.
Yeah. And the way that the split is chattering up and down as well. I mean, we saw Tom Coronel, that was all drag. Here we go on board. Forced Thiago to go defensive.
Very neat cutback. Oh. Very neat cutback.
Montero. And between Thiago and the tyres, there was barely room, was there?
Yeah, he tried to close the door on him, but Robert already got his foot in it.
Yeah. And luckily, didn't break any of the suspension on the larder, touch wood.
You can never... when the travelling salesman comes and knock him, you can't shut the door when he's got his foot in.
Absolutely. And he forced Thiago to go deep in defence and was always going to cut back, and did. And how he missed the back of Thiago's car when he cut back inside him is one thing. And then Thiago tried to shut the door. It was all a little too late.
I'd say he greased the corners of it, but he must have have a fair bit of grease to have avoided all the carnage that's been happening as he's scythed his way through. But
a couple of cans of silicone spray
from last. That's pretty good going, isn't it?
Certainly is. That's been the sort of season, you know, he's had adversity and then suddenly come up smelling of roses. And again, you know, we heard that from Ivan Muller on the grid. Never give up. And that's exactly the same deal with Rob Huff. Never give up. Never give up. After the first race in... Was that a move for the lead? Was Loeb going for the lead down into this fast left-hander? He certainly moved offline, and we're still watching the battle for third. And now we're watching somebody on the pit wall where we might actually... No, we didn't. Unless Loeb had a lunge and we didn't see it, but he looked to be moving very definitely offline down into turn 4.
It'd be nice if last couple of laps, if Bernani can get his backside into gear and start getting stuck into the back of Mar.
Bernani with an older chassis. It's one of the cars that was raced last year, but quite how different it is in terms of overall spec, hard to tell. And again, Loeb is closing on Lopez as we get into the closing stages of the race. "13 of 16 laps completed, 3 to go. Lopez from Loeb, 1 second between them. And 3 seconds further back, the battle for third, and that gap's opened up again. It's now a second, just about, between Mar in third and Bernani in fourth. Nicky Katzberg looks at his car thinking, I'm not going to see that again until Qatar, am I?
I could have only just got it back now. That's
and there's 15 minutes in which to repair it. I mean, unless there's nothing damaged and it just stalled on him.
Unless they start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, but even so, there's no time. There's just no time, because we're going straight then into race 2. So,
oh, they're both still drifting it well through there, aren't they?
Do you know, well, when Loeb's behind, attacking the way he is, there's nothing you can do. Lopez has to push really hard, and the car is really up on its toes. Both drivers are making these machines work really, really hard. And here in this sector, so noticeable that Lopez pulls away, but Loeb closes in sector 3, right up behind him.
Yeah, Katzberg and Lapierre that encountering the glamour side of international world motorsport. They'll 29-hour flight out to Thailand and 1 corner.
Yep.
So far.
And Hugo Valence didn't complete a lap either. John Philippi, you saw behind in that shot at Campos, he did at least complete a couple of laps, and then unfortunately was the agent of his own demise, misjudging braking at the end of the long straight. Onto the pit straight for the 14th time. Leader Jose Maria Lopez just crept a little bit away from Loeb, but Mar cannot shake off Bernani. There's half a second between them. And Bernani in the slipstream is starting to creep up. This is a full kilometre, this straight. It's the end of the drag strip here. And again, Mar locking up more than Bernani. Now that might just be his driving style. It might be the way he's got the car set up. But Bernani is clinging to this task tenuously, isn't he? He wants to be able to get in amongst the Citroën family and take a podium.
He's definitely within striking distance here.
Oh, really drifting the car. Did you notice, by the way, just before these guys arrived, how Loeb's front end washed out on him halfway through the turn, completely gave up on him, and he had to take another big bite of steering to get it to come around.
Both the cars look good. They don't look as though their tyres are degrading that much, but but Bernani definitely looks the stronger of these two.
Yeah, and he was quicker in qualifying on an outright flying lap on his own, but it wasn't so much of a difference that he can just sail by Mar. And one driver's setup or one driver's style works differently on different parts of this track.
Just in the background, we can see Tarquini still managed to keep that little bit of air between him and Huffy. Huffy's just lost the edge off his tyres now. We're going into the closing stages of the race.
Yeah, he'll have nothing left, will he now? Although, actually, as they come down the straight, Tarquini not that much in front all of a sudden. It was 1.3 last lap. I think Huff has taken a good half a second out of that, and maybe
down
more.
To turn 3. Could Bernani go for a move here?
Lopez and Loeb still really aggressively pushing here, and a big lock-up from Mar. But Bernani's not got an overlap there. He can't get an overlap.
He's almost just trying to keep the pressure up just to see if he can force Mar into a mistake, but
has to be done. Never give up.
Ooh, few track limits.
Yeah, Mar drifting all the way over the white line.
I feel like a little schoolboy telltale when I keep on going track limits, because I think you should be able to take everything.
Not on the radio whining about it to the team so that Charlie Whiting can hear you.
They were just on the TV telling everyone else about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't matter what we say. Sebastian Loeb, by the way, fastest first sector of the race on this lap, trying again to close the gap on Jose Maria Lopez. Tom Chilton back out, so they've obviously had a fiddle with the car and tried to fix whatever ailed it.
Sebastian Loeb, fastest front sector of the race.
Yep.
Sector 1 of the race, so his tyres are obviously hanging on all right.
Well, there's still some grip there, isn't there? And that might well have been his fastest race lap. I think that was his fastest race lap, Loeb. Fuel load burning off, of course, with every lap, so the cars are getting lighter. And are they getting lighter faster than the tyres are getting less grippy? It's that trade-off, isn't it? Heavier the car is at the beginning, the faster it wears the tyres, the lighter it is, the less it wears the tyres, but at some stage those curves overlap and the tyre wear is too high for the lightweight to be able to benefit from it. Huff came across the line again, 3/4 of a second behind Tarquini, and Lopez again forced to drive this like a rally car on the loose to stay in front of Sebastian Loeb. Again, not exceeding the track limits, though. He keeps the car astride the curbs, never fully inside or outside the white lines, just keeping everything under control and safe. And that was the AstroTurf turn 8-9 that cost Mehdi Benani his fastest time, or 7-8 in fact. So they drop down through 10 and climb back up out of turn 11. One corner remains between Jose Maria Lopez, victory, the checkered flag, and a second consecutive World Touring Car Championship title. As he takes 25 points, he puts it beyond any question. He cannot now be caught and is the new world champion. And I think I can probably actually hear him shouting from here. Lopez wins the race. Lopez wins the title. Sichuan crowned manufacturers champions last time out in China. And Jose Maria Lopez, 2 years in the World Touring Car Championship, 2 world titles. Since he started with Sichuan, nice work, well done indeed. Since he started with Sichuan, Lopez has never been headed in the championship.
Is that right? In 2 years?
He was on pole for the very first race at Termas de Rio Hondo last year. Had 5 points before he started his first full-time race, and he has never been headed
got his zip
in the
ties out.
championship. Yes, they're tie-wrapping the flagpole, because when you're trying to drive along one-handed, hold the door open, hold a whacking great flag like that, it's going to easily get pulled out of your hands. So there's his fiancée Victoire, and there is your world champion for 2015. I need Neil Hudson from Touring Car Times to tell us at which race he won the title last year, because I didn't look it up before we came on air.
Actually, Neil Hudson did send through a correction earlier, because another driver to have won it twice before the end of the season was Ivan Muller in the Chevrolet.
Yeah, once when he won it with RML, and in 2010 when Priaulx was excluded in Paris. Don't remember the race in Paris, but there you go. So yes, several people coming on to correct me. Very good. And Jose Maria Lopez is our world champion with 3 races to go. So the gap over Ivan Muller, who didn't score here after qualifying, is 102 points. And 3 races. And 5 points for pole, which is 75 points plus 5 for pole. 80 points remain on the table. So Lopez cannot now be caught.
2 of the stellar drives. I mean, you've got Tarquini from 15th and Huff from 18th on the grid, 5th and 6th place, and just 0.6 of a second separating them at the flag. So
yep.
have to say, I know there was a lot of carnage, but they have to get through that carnage, stay in one piece, and, and get to the flag. So,
well, you know, they've both had occasions this year when the carnage has come and found them, and today it just didn't. Lots of busy grandstands here. Lots of Thai fans come out to see this World Championship motorsport in action. Some of the drivers met the Prime Minister a couple of days ago when they arrived here. They've been feted by the local mayors and dignitaries. So there's been quite a lot of attention. It's a very major event in this fairly quiet area of Thailand, and Victoire can barely contain her excitement. And of course he's going into the weighbridge before he gets to the team. Why wouldn't you be? And see now, any scrutineer worth his salt, and Manel will do this, will take off anything that's been added to the car.
I was going to say that.
To add
nice
weight
bit of
to
weight
it.
with the flag. Sure they won't notice that at all.
Yeah. Well, he should be comfortably over. Should be no problem at all. That's our chief scrutineer there in the doorway. I don't suppose there'll be anything too much to worry about. Cars all passed post-qualifying tech, and a team of the ability and confidence of Citroën will certainly not be going and doing anything silly to them after they've been scrutineered once and knowing that they're going to be scrutineered again. So busy grandstand. Look at that. There's not a spare seat in the house. Everybody now zooming out for a quick fluid break. And we will wait for our race winner to come to Parc Fermé. Confirmation of the result then unofficial, but that is the way they finished at the line. Lopez from Loeb by 1.4 seconds. Mar completing an all-Citroën podium ahead of Mehdi Benani. Gabriele Tarquini, Rob Huff, the big movers and shakers up the order to 5th and 6th.